Good afternoon. Today is Wednesday, November 26, 2025. This is a special meeting of the State Liquor Authority being conducted in New York City and Albany, also live streamed on our YouTube channel. Present today are Chair Lily Fan Albany, Commissioner Edgar DeLeon in New York City, and Commissioner John Maya via WebEx. Staff in attendance are Council Margarita Marcico in New York City, Deputy Commissioner of Licensing Maureen Hughes via WebEx, Paula Taylor for Secretary's Office in Albany. We have one item on the calendar today. It's a request for an emergency summary order of suspension, agenda number 1126-2025-001, license Conics Corner, located at 83 East Northport Road in Kings Park, New York. Associate Counsel Robert Buckley is our prosecutor, and when you're ready, Counsel Buckley.
I'm ready now. Thank you, members, for hearing this request from Counsel's Office. Again, this is Robert F. Buckley, appearing on behalf of Counsel's Office. There's a request to the members to consider imposing an emergency order summary suspension regarding the licensee, which Paula referred to. The initial reason to submit this to the board is an inspection that was made of the premises on this past Saturday, November 22nd, 2025. To more or less reiterate in my memo, this appears to be a tavern type operation issued some 19 years ago. Initially as a license tavern, even though I believe the license says restaurant, I believe that's an error. It's a tavern with a very limited menu, about a capacity of 49 or so persons, and the principals are Daniel and Melissa McDougall. As parenthetically, I believe their names are incorrect in our database. It should be an MAC instead of MC. But in any event, those persons are husband and wife, and they're the two principals. As stated, on the 22nd of November, there was apparently an event at this location, which was over social media, where there was a DJ present. Ordinarily, I don't think the premises has DJs. Their method of operation doesn't allow DJs, just recorded music. Before State Liquor Authority Investigator Stravali, the Smithtown Fire Marshal, and members of the Suffolk County Police Department entered the location to perform an inspection. There were 4 underage agents used to see if they would be able to purchase alcohol beverages. They were charged either $20 or $40, depending on which of the individuals gained entry. And then they proceeded to purchase from the 3 bartenders present alcohol beverages. So in total, there were 8 sales to the underage agents. The police and Investigator Stravali and the fire marshal entered about 10:39 after the sales were made. And by the way, there was a undercover police officers who also entered the location as ghost officers to make the observations. From looking at the body cam and that was recorded by Investigator Stravali and the reports, it appears to be that this location was extremely crowded. From looking at the body cam, it appears that the majority, if not all, of the patrons appear to be young. In other words, in their either late teens or early 20s, but mostly in their late teens. The police officer that was the ghost officer told St. Counsel's Office that it appeared to be what you might see as a high school party, where people of that age, they were drinking mostly beer or Surfside canned cocktails. Some of them were vaping, smoking marijuana, making out, etc., things you would not expect to occur in a premises such as this. Eventually, the police and the Smithtown fire marshal recorded the best they could the patrons who were present. They took down their dates of birth, some of them their residence addresses. They appear to be, again, from the list that was taken by the police. Some of them appear to be as young as 15 or 16. Most appear to be about 17 or 18 years of age. Apparently, some were indicated that they had fraudulent ID that they were secreting. I'm just minus. And then again, a few minutes later, again, when the team came in to perform an inspection, about 10 minutes later, Mr. and Mrs. Dougal also appeared. From looking at the body cam and the police reports from Suffolk County Police and Investigator Cervalli's report, it appears that this was an event held by the premises. The persons in charge, by the way, were the person in charge, one of the bartenders, who was 19 years age himself. Another bartender was 19, another bartender was 21 years of age. So clearly the licensees abdicated their responsibility to ensure proper supervision at this location. And once they did appear and spoke to Investigator Cervalli, Mr. McDougal recalled Mr. Cervalli from an inspection that he performed in 2018, where there was a similar violations found, not so much the sales to minors, but the premises not having any food. In fact, on this occasion of last Saturday, Mr. McDougal told Investigator Cervalli that they only have beverages, which is consistent with their food establishment permit, which indicates beverage only. So even though in their initial application they said they were going to have a limited menu, they didn't even have any food available, so making them a non-bona fide premises. Again, so the Smithtown Fire Marshal issued various code violations and ordered the premises closed until those violations were remedied and there was a reinspection. So I believe that the premises are still closed because I don't believe that they've remedied those violations or has there been a reinspection. As well, when there was a inspection of the basement, which is not part of the premises, there was a loaded shotgun found in the premises, which is similarly when Investigator Cervalli was there in 2018. Again, there was a loaded shotgun. Apparently, Mr. McDougal may be facing some future criminal action, but that didn't occur on the night of the inspection. As well, they also had a Broadway electronic gambling device. There was apparently one security guard present who was scanning identifications. There was another person who did not fit the demographics of the patrons who denied to Investigator Cervalli he was a security guard. So there was some discrepancy how many security guards there were, but apparently there was only the one security guard who was stationed in front scanning. And speaking with Melissa McDougal, I got the idea that they were sort of bewildered that why they were being inspected, since they apparently scanned all the patrons' IDs. But again, even if they scanned IDs, again, whether persons had fraudulent ID or not, the majority of these patrons were quite young. So even if they presented fraudulent ID, it would be one who had to be very skeptical that they in fact were 21 or over. Sort of coincidentally, the day before, November 21st, 2025, SLA investigator Pope performed did perform an inspection, but primarily he was there to serve Mr. McDougal with a notice without prejudice letter regarding complaint from a sale to minor. And Mr. McDougal signed this, what we call an NWOP letter, as well as Investigator Pope noted the gambling device, that there was an operational kitchen, there was no food offered for sale. So based on that, counsel's office believes that this licensee has, again, abdicated its responsibility to oversee their location. Apparently from the complaint that prompted Investigator Pope to go to the premises the night before the inspection, this is not the first time there's been complaints of underage sales at this location. In fact, when Mr. McDougal appeared on the night of the 22nd, last Saturday, he indicated to Investigator Cervalli that you really can't make, he wasn't really making money off the regular customers. So reading between the lines, apparently they had this event and permitted over 200 persons, 223 persons, more or less, were noted to be present at the location, again, where the capacity is at best 60 persons. As well as there were numerous persons also spilled out into a rear patio area, and those gates were locked at the patio. So that would, if there was some sort of emergency event, that would be very dangerous. There might be a stampede as people were trying to exit the location. And the licensee had been disapproved for an alteration application to approve this patio area to encompass their licensed premises. And as well, when Investigator Cervalli spoke to Ms. McDougal on the 22nd of November, she knew that they didn't have permission to use DJs. So that is essentially my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, Council. Members, do you have questions?
Thank you, Mr. Buckley. I just have a quick question. So you mentioned that capacity, it's in the 40s or 60? Because you've said both things.
Was 40, they listed 49 on their application, but that was, 20 some odd years ago. So I believe that, the police and the fire marshal relied on the 60-person capacity when they went there last week.
So there's 60 legal capacity and they were at 223 was the
Correct.
Patron count?
Correct.
Okay, and would you say, what percentage of those would you say were under 21? Do you have a sense?
Probably 95%, Chair. Looking at, there was a handwritten list, as I said, taken by apparently the police and or the fire marshal as they were sort of,
Okay,
letting people out, in an organized way. Because when the police went there, they had other officers to sort of monitor the exits.
Okay.
So they had a controlled environment. They made an announcement. You could hear on the body cam that there was no reason to panic. The police are here to do an inspection. So as they were having people exit in a careful way, they apparently recorded persons at the best they could, their names, their date of birth, and their residence address. And you could see from some of their residence addresses, persons live in the area, Dix Hills, East Northport, St. James, Huntington.
okay. Do you
Just
have
one
any
last thing.
evidence?
One last thing, Chair, that the police indicated that apparently a lot of these people, since a lot of these people apparently didn't even have a driver's license, let alone cars. So I inquired, well, how did these people get there? And apparently many came by Uber, and the police also directed that people who were under 18, that their parents be notified to have them picked up. So that's how a lot of these patrons came, apparently, by Uber. Sorry.
Okay. How do we know that this is a high school event?
No, what I'm saying is that according to the ghost officer who was there, when he was describing how the clientele looked, he basically said if you looked at the clientele, and it's confirmed by Investigator Stravali's body cam, it looks like a high school dance. As the age of the patrons, their manner of dress, as persons that age normally dress.
Okay.
So it wasn't necessarily
Okay.
something about in a high school, because apparently the person's from the North Shore of Long Island, that area, whether it be Syosset, Northport, Huntington, Kings Park, East Northport, etc.
So, you mentioned that 2 of the 3 bartenders are underage.
Correct. 2 were 19. One of the bartenders was designated as the person in charge. When Investigator Stravali came inside, he spoke to the DJ and said, "Who's in charge?" And the DJ said Colin, who ended up being Colin, one of the bartenders.
And he was the 19-year-old or he was the 21-year-old?
19.
Okay. So the 8 sale to minor charges that are in the notice of pleading, all of them are the sales that were made to the underage agents, right? All 8 of those?
Correct. The police, in essence, were more interested in really evacuating the location, making sure these patrons went safely home, as opposed to taking criminal enforcement action, which I guess they have taken against them for false identification, possession of alcohol, etc.
So from the body cam evidence, or information from the police officer or Investigator Stravali, do you have evidence that people were generally drinking in the establishment? I'm not asking if they observed any sale to minor. I'm just asking, were the 220 something people drinking?
Yeah,
I'm not saying all of them, but some of them.
Yeah, according to again our ghost police officer who was there, who was admitted, I believe he was like, I believe he said he looked like to be the oldest person there. Yeah, he noted that many of the persons, if not all, had mostly either beer or the Surfside canned cocktail product.
Okay. All right, thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Commissioner DeLeon?
Commissioner May, you have any questions? Because I have a few.
I have none.
Counsel, you mentioned that the licensee says that they don't understand why they have a problem because they have scanners. Were scanners observed being used?
Well, no, because I believe that field team was outside. So when Investigator Stravali and the field team went there, they encountered the main security guard who was licensed, and he showed them a sort of like a cell phone size scanner, and it said 275. It wasn't clear whether the 275, meaning the amount of people, whether it was from the night before or this night. So that was not clear, but not particularly because our field team was outside. So I don't think they really saw the people being scanned, because some of the police were in uniform. So once that happened, basically they wouldn't let anybody enter the location at that point.
Was the scanner inspected at all? Do we know that it's functional or non-functional? Or?
Not clear about that, Commissioner. I really, it was again, it looked like a cell phone type scan. I'm not really familiar with the types of scan. You use the scanners I'm familiar with, or something where you swipe, but it appeared to be more of a, maybe there's an app on the phone. I'm not quite sure, to tell you the truth.
Okay, and how do we know about the fraudulent identifications? Were they seized by the police?
No. Not that I'm aware of. I don't believe they did that. I believe the police used their discretion and basically just wanted to evacuate the location, again, considering how young the individuals were, again, making sure they got safely home. And according to Investigator Stravali's report, the agents themselves, the underage agents, were not scanned themselves. They paid either $20 or $40 as an admission fee, but weren't scanned themselves.
But we don't know that the police actually seized any fraudulent IDs.
No, I don't believe they did, according to the ghost officer we spoke to. I don't think that was really their focus. Their focus, again, was to have these agents go in there and see if they were able to be sold alcoholic beverages and just observe the location itself.
On more than one occasion, this licensee has been cited for several safety violations. In particular, the fire marshal on the day of the inspection issued 10 code violations. Can you tell me what some of those violations were?
I didn't bring my report. I'm sorry. I made that part of the exhibit, but I believe they were not anything that was, let's say, egregious. I believe they were more or less the same type violations that were from actually the 2018 visit. I see Investigator Stravali noted that there were fire extinguishers not inspected, compressed gas tanks not secured, open electric boxes, extension cords being used. Those sort of things. Nothing that would seem to be an immediate hazard, but nonetheless, maybe because they had not been corrected from the prior inspection, or maybe there were prior inspections that the fire marshal performed, but nothing of really again, an egregious nature.
The loaded shotgun was found in the basement, right? Is there any public access to the basement?
Well, I believe the basement is primarily used as an office for the licensee. So I think if anyone, a patron wanted to go to the basement, I assume that they would, that was off limits.
That's right. And the gambling devices were in the basement, so do we have any evidence that they were actually being used?
No, I believe it's on the main floor. It was
Yeah.
a Broadway machine. I don't believe either the police or our investigator actually played the machine on this instance.
Okay.
But they may be referred to the lottery, because I believe they did have a lottery. And also, I believe there was also an issue that they may have had bingo games without being issued a permit from the Gaming Commission.
And my last question, on the date of our inspection, was there an outdoor tent? Or had it been removed since 2020?
No, there was just this rear patio being used. It wasn't an enclosed.
Are they licensed for the rear patio?
No, they're not. They submitted an alteration application, I believe in 2020, but they didn't provide sufficient information from that they had permission from the town to use an outdoor area, so they were disapproved.
Thank you, Council.
Okay, members, are you ready to vote?
I have one question
Oh, okay,
to the council. Let me pull it
Yep.
up here. All right, just the NWAP. You mentioned an NWAP letter, and I'm looking in your memorandum. And are you saying that a letter was provided to the principal a day before November 21st or November 22nd?
Yeah, so Investigator Pope went there with a form. It was just advising the licensee about complaints regarding sales to underage. Danny McDougal signed it. And then the investigator also just orally noted to him the fact that they didn't have a operational kitchen or food being available, and that there was the Broadway machine, and there was unlicensed security. So yeah, it was actually, the day before.
Okay, I have nothing else. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
okay, members. Commissioner DeLeon?
Okay, I want to thank council for his presentation. I also want to take a moment to thank our enforcement unit for the work that they do. I find that there's ample evidence in the record to find that this establishment raises a concern for the public health, an immediate concern, public health and welfare and safety of the community. We have numerous instances of underage persons at the location drinking. We even have underage bartenders serving alcohol to underage persons, and this has happened on more than one occasion, as the record makes clear. Another large concern for me is the safety violations. Whether it's 49 persons or 60 persons, maximum occupancy, to have 223 persons in this location with 10 fire code violations, including fire extinguishers that haven't been inspected, perhaps, we don't know if they're working or not, and gas containers that are not secured, to me, presents a significant threat to the public safety. God forbid, as council noted, that something happened and everybody had to get out of that place quickly, there will be a stampede and people could lose their lives. I also find that this licensee has been advised and has been penalized to the tune of $20,000 back in 2018, and has been advised of the problems that his establishment, and the problems continued. If anything, they appear to have been maximized. We have weapons. I don't know if they were licensed or not at the location. We have gambling devices at the location. We have a DJ when they're not supposed to have one. They're only supposed to have recorded music. We have use of the rear patio that is not licensed by the authority being used. I just find that there's a complete abdication of responsibility, a complete failure to adhere to the rules that are required for a licensee to be responsible. And I vote to summarily suspend this licensee's license.
Commissioner Baya?
I thank Commissioner De Leon for his summary of the evidence that I've heard and read, and I join in his recommendation that the license is summarily suspended.
Okay, and Chair Fick?
Based on evidence presented by council and the evidence that we've received from the investigator and the police officer on scene, I find that there is imminent threat to public safety, health, and welfare, and vote to summarily suspend this license as well. Thank you, everybody.
So ordered.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.